6 months ago, I made a decision I thought would prove I was a good sister. My older sister, Savannah, had nowhere to go. She was bouncing between friends' couches, running out of options, and sounded genuinely broken when she called me crying. Against my better judgment, and despite our complicated past, I opened my home to her. At the time, it felt like the right thing to do. Savannah moved in with a duffel bag and a promise to get back on her feet. My boyfriend, Matt, was supportive from the start. He helped carry her things inside, offered her food, and tried to make her feel welcome. That should have been my first warning. Savannah always noticed kindness, especially from men. Within the first week, subtle things started happening. Little comments that didn't sit right with me. I've always been insecure about my body, especially my hip dips. Savannah noticed that too. One afternoon, while I was wearing leggings, she casually asked Matt if he'd ever noticed them. When he looked confused and brushed it off, she laughed and suggested I work out with her sometime to improve my figure. I told myself I was being sensitive. But the behavior didn't stop. It escalated. Savannah started spending most of her time in the common areas, always when Matt was around. She lounged on the couch in tiny shorts, sometimes bikinis, despite the fact that we didn't have a pool. When I confronted her gently, she acted clueless, said she was just being comfortable. Then she flipped it on me, suggesting maybe I was insecure if clothing bothered me that much. And I believed her. Few days later, Matt was working from home. Savannah knew it. She spent the entire day walking around the house in a bikini, bending awkwardly to grab things from the fridge, vacuuming near his workspace, brushing past him unnecessarily. That night, Matt told me everything. Quietly, carefully, like he didn't want to cause a problem between sisters. That's when I realized something terrifying. She wasn't dressing like that for comfort. Still, I avoided confrontation. I didn't want drama. I didn't want to believe my own sister would do that to me. Weeks passed, and Savannah's behavior became impossible to ignore. She started doing yoga in the living room, but only when Matt was home. Tight rompers, suggestive poses. She'd shower and walk through the house in just a robe, asking Matt for help reaching things she could easily reach herself. Then came movie night. Matt and I were curled up on the couch when Savannah walked in wearing a silk robe and insisted on joining us. She ignored the open seats and sat directly next to Matt, so close she was practically on his lap. When I asked her to sit by me, she refused. Said she was comfortable. She told Matt to feel how soft her pajamas were. When he tried to move away, she leaned closer. That was the moment my blood turned cold. I knew then. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't misunderstanding. This was intentional. And the next day, I was about to learn just how far she was willing to go. But before I could confront her, my phone rang, and what Matt told me shattered any doubt I still had. The next morning, I was driving home from work, rehearsing what I planned to say to Savannah. I wanted to stay calm. Sure. I didn't want to explode. Then my phone rang. It was Matt. His voice was tight, uncomfortable. He told me that Savannah had come out of the bathroom soaking wet, wearing nothing but a bikini, and asked him to stop working to check out her progress. She asked if he could tell whether Pilates was paying off. My hands clenched the steering wheel. As I drove faster, something from my past resurfaced, something I had buried for years. When we were teenagers, Savannah had a habit of flirting with my boyfriends. Following them online, messaging them privately. Once, she even went out with my crush and casually told me they'd already hooked up. I remembered how small I felt then. And suddenly everything made sense. I stormed into the house and demanded answers. Savannah acted innocent as always. Said it was a misunderstanding. Said she was just proud of her body. But when I pointed out the flirting, the clothes, the constant boundary crossing, she broke down crying. She begged me not to kick her out. She said she had nowhere else to go. Our parents had cut her off years ago. I was the last person she had. Against my instincts, I gave her one last chance, on strict conditions. No skimpy clothes. No inappropriate behavior. Distance from Matt. She agreed instantly. Hugged me. Thanked me. But deep down I knew something was wrong. And I was right. Because just when I started feeling safe again, I overheard a phone call that proved she hadn't changed at all. For a few weeks, things seemed better. Savannah wore normal clothes. She avoided Matt. I let myself relax, just a little. But trust doesn't rebuild overnight. One afternoon, as I walked past her room, I overheard her on the phone, laughing, bragging. She said Matt was so fine. Said she'd been getting close to him before I overreacted. My stomach dropped. Soon after, the behavior returned. Slowly. Calculated. One day, she walked around in a towel, asked Matt for help, then dropped it in front of him. She claimed it was an accident. Snap. Matt reassured me later, told me he only wanted me. That he felt uncomfortable and trapped. That conversation strengthened us but also made one thing clear. Savannah had to go. And that night I walked into the kitchen to find her doing something that finally pushed me past my breaking point late that night. I went looking for Matt and found Savannah in the kitchen, wearing lingerie, trying to chat him up. When she saw me, she tried to laugh it off. I dragged Matt back to our room. The next week, she crossed the ultimate line. She dropped her towel again, this time bending directly in front of him, and joked that he owed her since he'd seen everything. That was it. I left work early. I told her to pack her things. She screamed, cried, accused Matt of wanting her. I didn't believe a word. But even after I kicked her out, she wasn't finished trying to manipulate me. Savannah left the next morning. The relief was immediate. Peace returned. 2 weeks later, she called from a blocked number. Apologized. Then blamed me. Said I was the favorite. Said I had everything handed to me. Listened. Then I told her never to call me again. And I meant it. Sometimes protecting your peace means walking away. Even from family.